Hey algebra 1, Mr. Schachter here. Let's talk about a brand new notation called interval notation. Interval notation is another way to represent a set. For example, inequalities, graphing, those kind of representations. Interval notation, however, is concise, it's quick, it's easy, so that's why we kind of use it when we're talking about these sets. So let's talk about how to do it. There's two very important steps in interval notation, and the first is to always write the numbers least to greatest. Left to right, they should be least to greatest. So interval notation will kind of look like a coordinate point, and that'll make sense in a moment. But for example, if you had the interval 4 to infinity, notice that 4 is smaller than infinity, so we would never write this particular set as infinity comma 4. So this is considered to be incorrect because the largest number needs to be on the right, the smaller number needs to be on the left. Okay, so least to greatest when you write an interval. Step 2, you're going to use parentheses to exclude a number. So if a set does not include a number, that number is going to be in a parenthesis, and you're going to use a bracket to include a number. So if there's this number that's included in a set, you're going to want to use a bracket there. This comes into play when we're talking about our inequalities. So a greater than symbol and a less than symbol. These do not actually include the number that we're talking about. You know, for example, if we talked about x is greater than 5, right? If x is greater than 5, 5 is not included in my set. I'm talking about everything larger than it. 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, so on and so forth. So that means whenever you use a greater than or a less than symbol, you will use parentheses on those numbers. However, when you use the greater than or equal to symbol, or the less than or equal to symbol, now you have a closed circle indicating that you include that number. That's when you use brackets. Okay? So for example, if I were to change this guy to a greater than or equal to symbol, now you would be including the 5 in the set, and therefore it would require brackets. There's one last thing I need to say, and that is that whenever you use an infinity or a negative infinity, you always use parentheses. The logic is because you can't actually ever get to infinity, right? It's just a mathematical concept. It's not actually a number. If I told you to run an infinite amount of steps, you actually could never get there. So infinity and negative infinity will always use parentheses. Check out the next video for some examples.